What's going on, Romeo, and welcome to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio.
Hey man, how you doing?
I'm doing real good, and thank you for being on the show this evening.
Thank you for inviting me to be on the show. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Let's go ahead and begin. How did your wrestling career got started?
Actually, it started in Denver, Colorado. It started about, I want to say, 7 years ago at a little place called the Butcher Shop. Actually, it started off in Thornton, Colorado, so right close to Denver. So I got trained by a group of guys, one by the name of Joey Terrifying, still out of Denver, another guy by the name of Bronx, and another gentleman by the name of Jesse Williams. And the guy that actually introduced me to him was a gentleman by the name of Justice. He brought me into the business. He's an MMA fighter, boxer, professional wrestler, and he introduced me to the sport of professional wrestling. So I definitely credit a lot of that, my training to those four gentlemen. So, I mean that's the way it is here out in Denver, Colorado. I definitely want to give a big shout out to those guys out there that are doing things. Primo's Hardcore and Wrestling is probably the number one and most dominant independent professional wrestling company in Colorado, hands down. Period. And that's where I got my start.
Do you remember the first wrestling match that you had, and if so, who was your opponent, and what company did you work for at the time?
Well, I actually broke out in the company, and I want to say I paid my dues all the way from the start. I paid my dues, and I started as a manager for the gentleman Jesse Williams. And my first match wasn't actually a match. My first break into the business was, like I said, as a manager. And I actually took some pretty heavy hits from my trainer, who was Justice at the time. That was my first break into the business, being a predominantly heel manager. And going forward, I broke away from the management role and became my own person, my own character. And my first match, funny enough, was against a girl in Denver. She no longer wrestles anymore, but her name was Amy Williams. And my first match, I honestly can say I wasn't ready for it. There was a lot going on, and it was much like a lot of vets would say, their first match was definitely the one that I stunk up the joint. That's just the way it was.
So, I mean, now that you bring it up, I mean, is that something you learn from? Is it like something that you learned the hard way, anything like that? Like, did you get any butterflies that led to things not going the way that you hoped for?
I don't think the butterflies ever go away. The difference in the butterflies from then to the butterflies and now is it's more of, it's not nervousness, it's that excitement, it's the adrenaline rush, it's the rush of hearing the crowd boo you or cheer you. I think, like I said, the first time I went out, I was a natural, I want to say, at being in front of a crowd. I have no problem being in front of 10 people all the way up to thousands of people. So that wasn't a problem. Being in front of an audience has never been a problem for me. Being on a microphone, when I got my start as a manager, was never a problem for me. Cutting promos was never a problem for me. It was making a match and painting a picture. The psychology of the match is what I lacked in my very first year of wrestling. I wasn't able to paint the picture the way I was supposed to. As time has come on, being where I am now, that's the way I perform. That's the way I have every match. It's painting a picture. It's telling a story. Win, lose, or draw. It's making sure the crowd gets a story told in my match. And that's the difference between, like you said, the butterflies from then to now is different. I was nervous then about not making a mistake, and my nervousness now is going out there, putting on a good show, and knowing that they saw something and they got a story out of my match. That was the difference between then and now. Then it was making a mistake. Now it's making a match. If that makes any sense at all.
As a matter of fact, yeah, it does make sense. Definitely does. you mentioned you started off as a manager, and then you went on to being a wrestler.
Uh-huh.
What was it making that transition from being a manager into a wrestler?
I think it goes along with paying your dues. When I started training, I was a crash test dummy. I mean, when I started, I was probably only a buck 50. That's soaking wet. I think a lot of the guys are a lot bigger than me. I mean, I'm tall, I'm 6 foot even, but I was a toothpick, and I think the guys saw me as just, we're gonna beat this kid up. And for the first 3 months, that's exactly what happened. I got beat up. But what they did do is, after 3 months of realizing I was going to come back from getting beat up so much, they put me in the middle of the ring and said, cut a promo and talk. And that's what I did. I talked. And they said, wow, this kid's natural at talking. So being a manager came natural to me to get certain people over or hated because of the way I did it. So transitioning from that management role into becoming a wrestler, I had already taken what I call the hard part. I already had the hard stuff down, and that was the talking in front of public and in front of a live audience. I had that part down. It was the in-ring skill and the psychology that I lacked thereof. But the transition from a manager to a wrestler was simple for me. I mean, it was paying your dues. I never was allowed to have a match until they felt like I was ready. So the transition was smooth. I say to anybody learning in the business or training that hasn't had a first match, being a manager is a great way to start. And that's what I suggest to anybody in the business, is start at the very bottom, a referee, a manager, before you become a worker. So now I don't know. I mean, I think that might answer the question.
Fair enough. That's definitely fair. And what really got my attention was paying your dues. Considering a lot of wrestlers, start training and then all of a sudden they become wrestlers. I guess as far as maybe the manager first, then the wrestling, I guess it depends on the promoter or the booker and what they feel. What's the best way to have your career started? I guess it depends on the situation that's at hand, I guess.
Yeah, and it definitely depends on the person too. If a person wants to be a wrestler and that's all they want to be, then that's it. Then they're going to do that, and that's the first thing they're going to go for. In my eyes, I've been a wrestling fan since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. My favorite wrestler growing up was Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. That's all I emulated. He was the best wrestler in my eyes. I was never really a Hulk Hogan fan. I was never really I love Macho Man, but I just had this draw towards the $1 Million Man. That's who I wanted. He talked. He had a look. He got a great ring presence. That's what I wanted. So when I got an opportunity to shine in any kind of way, I jumped on it, being in the business. So when I took my first steps into the ring, that was a dream come true. And when they heard me talk in a promo in training and they said, you can do that, I immediately wanted to embody the $1 Million Man. That was it for me. Like, I remember the $1 Million Man cutting promos that just made you hate him and also want to be him. And that's what I wanted to get across, as in the beginning. So I climbed the ladder, and you're right, it's different for different promoters. If they see somebody and they want him to be a wrestler, they're going to ask him to be that. In my shoes, I wanted to just be in the business and start from the very bottom and work my way to where I am now.
Absolutely.
And that was what I thought. That was my dream.
Ted DiBiase, no doubt about it, he had it all, and he also had that laugh. I mean, like you said, people wanted to hate him or wanted to be like him. I mean, he's definitely one of those guys that in pop culture, people want to be like him. And it's just, and not
Right.
just wrestlers, it's outside of wrestling. It's music, it's movies and things of that nature. He's definitely one of those people that people look at it like, hey, this guy is something else, let me tell you.
Yeah, he's and you went from $1 Million Man, and then you go into a new generation and is still an active wrestler, and you go into the Chris Jerichos, who is another person that I've watched closely in his career, and I love everything that Chris Jericho does. And he's another one that, good guy or bad guy, he screams attention. He's always got the spotlight put on him. And the best thing about Chris Jericho, I think, is no matter who gets in the ring with Chris Jericho, you're going to get a good match. And that's the type of worker and wrestler I am in the ring. If you work with me, you're going to get a good match.
Speaking of Chris Jericho, who I'm a fan of as well. 2 years ago, he went up against Edge. Last year, he went up against CM Punk. Main event quality matches. Now this year, he comes back after a 6-month hiatus. It looked like he was going to face Dolph Ziggler, considering what happened between the two last year. And now he finds himself in a match against some guy named Fandango. I mean,
yep, you're talking about what's his name is Johnny Curtis.
Yeah, NXT Season 4 winner.
Yeah, NXT winner. And funny you say Chris Jericho and Edge, because I was at that WrestleMania in Phoenix, and I was there to watch that match, and it was a great match. And I was actually at the Royal Rumble this year again in Phoenix, and I saw Chris Jericho come back, and I was sitting there. Funny story about Chris Jericho, real quick side note. He mentions that when he got the chant, "You still got it," I'm going to say right now, I'm taking credit for that because I got that chant started for him up in the big section. I started that chant, so when he said I never lost it, baby, you're welcome, Chris Jericho, because I started that for you, buddy. But Chris Jericho and the Fandango match, I'm going to speak it now. This year, WrestleMania, I'm going to be watching like a fan I am. I'm ordering it on pay-per-view. I'm telling you right now, the Fandango Chris Jericho match is the match I'm looking most forward to this year. I mean, I'm a Taker CM Punk fan. I'm a Triple H fan. I'm a big fan of Jack Swagger. But I'm telling you right now, Chris Jericho, Fandango, they're going to steal the show. And it's because of Chris Jericho. He can make a match out of it. He can paint the picture with any shade of color. And he's going to paint the picture with Johnny Curtis. I'm going to speak that right now. So that's what I'm looking forward to. A lot of my friends are disagreeing, but I'm looking forward to that match.
I'm very intrigued to see what this Fandango character can do, considering the Johnny Curtis thing, I guess, just didn't work out. They decided to go with a different direction. But, it's just one of those matches that I guess a lot of fans are saying Chris Jericho came back for this. But, hey, it's WrestleMania. I mean, any chance you can be a part of the spectacle, regardless of who your opponent is, then damn it, you take it. So
yeah, I think it's going to be a great match. Chris Jericho can wrestle the Invisible Man at WrestleMania, and he's going to steal the show with that match. Fandango, no one's seen it. The hype is there. The best part about it is a lot of my friends are wrestling fans, so they immediately are like, I hate Fandango. He's a stupid character. It stinks. And I'm like, you know what? Then they're doing their part. If they're making you hate this man, then they're doing exactly what they wanted to do. Because you need a heel and you need a babyface. And it's apparent that's exactly the match people are going to get. A heel Fandango versus a babyface Chris Jericho, and it's going to be a great match. And that's the way. It's great booking. It's great promoting. I think it's going to steal the show. I'm saying that right now. It's going to steal the show.
Well, I have no doubt that Chris Jericho would do his thing. It's just Fandango. I'm a bit curious to see what he can do now that he's going to be on the big stage. Let's go from one company to another. I hear that you was a contestant for TNA Gut Check bracket. Are you in one of the? I was looking at the new voting system and everything, and the brackets. Are you in any of those brackets by any chance?
I'm pretty disappointed in TNA Gut Check right now because I was in the bracket earlier this year, and I was self-promoting myself. I got plenty of votes, and then obviously they pulled it down because they had some leaks or some problems with voting. And I stayed on top of the fact that I was emailing them, letting them know I wanted to be in the brackets. And come to find out today, the brackets have been put up, and I'm not in. I have been sending them emails about what happened. I do have emails that stated that I sent my emails before the deadlines. So I don't know what has happened. I'm pretty disappointed in the way that they're handling it. I'm hoping that it gets fixed, that I am put in the bracket, because I did participate in Gut Check in Houston last June, and I had a good time. I got a lot out of it. And TNA is the second largest, company in North America that I would love to work for. So, unfortunately, right now, honestly, I've looked at it. I'm looking at it right now, and no, I'm not in the bracket, and that stinks. But I am in contact with them. I have information. I have email addresses and the right people to talk to about getting my name put back in that bracket. That way I am a contender. Because I think TNA desperately needs new guys. If it's not me, they need fresh talent, because they've got a lot of stale talent, and I think a lot of their storylines are stale, and they need some fresh faces, to say the least.
Oh, absolutely, man. And it's a good thing that they do have Gut Check, so they can start focus on developing new talent. I mean, all these other guys that you see, I mean, we've seen them before, and it appears to some of these wrestlers, they passed their prime, and TNA just keeping them on for either TNA keeping them for too damn long, or they feel, or the wrestlers themselves feel like they can keep going, and maybe they realize it, but it's I guess they're using the heart instead of their heads. Like, all these young up and comers are coming, and they need some new faces, and
They do.
I mean, hopefully some of these Gut Check winners will become the future, but it's just a matter of waiting to see as far as I'm concerned.
And I think some of the best talent they have right now on the roster are guys like Eric Young. I love watching Eric Young. I think he's probably one of the hardest working guys they got on the roster that is underutilized. He needs to be used more. I think him, the Samoa Joes, and then the new talent they have. I think the Briscoe and the Bischoff, those are two good names that they could use. They need a little bit more seasoning to them, but those are young guys that I think people want to see.
I'm definitely intrigued to see where some of these guys go from here. Eric Young, I mean, I get it. People don't want to take him that seriously because he can bring a lot of humor. It's like people don't focus on his wrestling that much. He's a funny guy. He makes a lot of people laugh. I mean, his storyline with ODB is hilarious. I mean, I respect the dude inside the ring, and his character is a hilarious dude. I guess the reason he's not utilized because I guess they just look at him as the funny guy. Like,
yeah, and that's where things. But the thing about it is he could be used correctly. He could be used both ways. If you know, I'm sure you recall there was a point in time where AJ Styles was with Tomko and Kurt Angle. And AJ Styles was the comic relief, and he did it just fine, And then they switched him, and he became world champion. So you just have to use him correctly, because Eric Young is a great, great worker. Anybody he gets in the ring with, he looks great in the ring with. He tells a story every single time.
Absolutely, man. So for people that want to get in touch with you social media wise, Facebook, Twitter, or anything particular, why don't you go ahead and promote your links?
Yeah, I sure will. So you can follow me on Twitter at It's Just Romeo, ITSJUSTROMEO. It's Just Romeo on Twitter. And if you want to follow me on Facebook, it's the same thing. Facebook.com/It's Just Romeo. And then it's the same thing on YouTube. It's YouTube/It's Just Romeo on my YouTube channel. But that's the best way to get a hold of me on social media for booking information. It's all there. So that's all, everything I have on social media. So I need more followers. I need more people to keep up. I mean, I tell people all the time, support independent pro wrestling, because the indie scene, you never know. That indie guy you see at the bingo hall or the armory, that could be the next TNA, Ring of Honor, WWE champion.
Absolutely, man. Well said. I want to go ahead and let you go, Romeo. Thank you for joining me, and continued success. And thank you for your time.
I appreciate that. And real quick, one more thing. There's a booking this Saturday in Seguin, Texas. I'm on the card. It's on my Facebook. So this Saturday, if you're in the South Texas area, like Seguin or San Antonio area, come check the Texas Wrestling Federation out. All right. I appreciate you having me on your radio. I'll do it anytime. So let me know. Appreciate it.
Well, we'll do, man. You have a good night.
You too. Thanks a lot.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was Romeo all the way from Texas joining me here. Very cool cat. And he said that Jericho and Fandango could be the match of the night. Um, like I said, man, Jericho, I'm sure. Fandango, it's going to be interesting. Now, he's a former NXT winner, so it could happen. He can. And it's funny how he's getting the "You Can't Wrestle" chants. Like, yeah, you do realize he's won season 4 NXT, right? I know NXT may not have mean much, but when you see Daniel Bryan and Ray Barrett and Caitlyn and AJ and how far they've come from the NXT days and Florida Championship Wrestling days, I mean, Curtis, of all the winners, Johnny Curtis will become the second NXT winner to make his debut. Another person that wrestled by the name of Kuval, he never got that WrestleMania opportunity. He won. He was there for a few months and got released. So I'm I'm not a fan of his gimmick, but I'm not gonna sleep on the dude. He's got potential. As I get back to the press conference here, Triple H and Stephanie was my favorite moment. CM Punk last year's press conference, he was goofing around, but this